welcome to the third review of the evening. Up this time is a game called Gun Crazy. Um, so, it's basically a arcade platform shooter kind of
It
thing.
reminds me of like a side-scrolling beat 'em up slash shoot 'em up, like almost like Contra, except for.
Yeah, something along those lines. So, I guess there's a story in this game, but
It's not. There may be a story in the game, but it's not in the game.
Even outside of the game, like looking through the materials, I'm not given an indication of who Gun Girl here is, and why she's shooting.
You're some girl with an arm cannon and a fucking kinetic blasting gauntlet or something.
Mm-hmm.
And there are robots and other assorted monsters attacking, and you have to go shoot them all up.
Yeah, that's pretty much the summation of things. Also, the only thing I know about her, other than her robo hands, is that she's a cop. She appears in each stage from a police car.
Though she's pretty distinctively not wearing anything that looks like a police uniform.
No, I'm going to say that her outfit here is not going to be regulation apparel.
Yeah.
But, at least I hope not. I
mean, honestly, even if you're on the all cops are bastards train, she's pretty easy to mistake for not a cop.
Yes, and
she's not actually doing particularly coply actions aside from shooting things, but even then, it's like robots and slimes. So,
it's like it's the barest of plot window dressing. You know, basically, what the game is saying is who you are. Really doesn't matter. You know, what you're fighting really doesn't matter. You are police girl. You have a robot hand and a gun for a arm. You know, what else are you going to do?
All world hunger.
By punching robots.
Sounds legit.
So yeah, you have, as stated, an arm cannon. Normally you have infinite ammunition for it, but if you pick up a power-up, you get a set number of ammunition of one of several types. It can be like a piercing laser, or a rapid-fire cannon, or a spread shot, or whatever. I think you can tell by the color of the exact power-up, but it doesn't seem to be fixed to location. The stages are pre-programmed; they're not random. But I think the power-ups are semi-random.
They are. I'll be honest. I was not very keen on the power-ups. Like
they make you want to stop and save them, and then sometimes that's hard to do because you need to shoot obstacles or something. Although you do have an option that does not. So, Petty Fan, what you need to do with this snake is double jump. When it's on the bottom, is double jump and then use the dash button that you've forgotten exists.
Dash button?
Air dash. Otherwise, you can't get it. Should be the right face button. Otherwise, you literally cannot get over it when it's on the ground.
Yep.
And you have to double jump too, because your single jump will still get hit by the horn.
Yeah, there you go.
It has very arcade design in the sense that you're intended to take a lot of punishment and die. When you die, you have 3 lives. You have, 5 hearts per life.
Yes.
You have 3 lives, and then when you lose a life, you just start over and you lose any special ammunition you had.
So, well, here's also the kicker. There are no health pickups.
Yeah, there are no health pickups. I never saw any anyway. There may be them, but if they exist, they're like a 1 in a trillion chance drop. So
yeah, well, that just makes them functionally useless then. Yeah,
which the game could use a little bit of that, because really you're just on a counter. But although I suppose the reason for that is that this is a really short game. Like 4 levels, you get 9 total lives, which is probably enough to complete it if you're good. I got to the 3rd level and I thought I was doing pretty badly, honestly.
Yeah, like if this were an actual arcade game, it would be pretty sparse even by those terms. let alone like an actual Super NES game.
Oh, another thing I don't super like about the power-ups is that when you get a new one, well, if you get a different new one, it overwrites the one you have. But if you get more of the same, like the ammo doesn't stack, it just sets you up to whatever the default max is for that thing.
Right.
What Petty Fan is at is part of the first thing. When there's something that looks like a fence or something in the background, sometimes my bullets were like catching on that, and it was weird. And also, there are times when there's stuff that you can walk, like there's like a ramp or something that goes up and down, and there's a crossbar that looks like the thing you should be able to walk on of it, but no, you walk on the whole thing. So between that and the fact that sometimes your bullets catch on things that are supposed to be in the background, that's what killed me in the third level. The third level, you're riding on a car, and when I was standing on the windshield, my bullets were going like an inch in front of my face, which makes it hard to shoot when there are things like at that level in front of the car.
Yeah. And another thing is that you might be able to see from the footage here is the game can get very busy in terms of objects on screen.
Yeah, the first issue I have with it, aside from, well, slightly unfair bullet hell style stuff that would make sense in an arcade that's trying to eat coins, the score drops that everything drops when it dies are like the size of your character, which is way too fucking big. It's really easy to, oh, hey, I didn't see that bullet because there were 5 billion score markers coming at me.
Yep.
That said, overall, the controls are pretty solid. Aside from the dash being, the second stage is an elevator stage. Aside from the dash being mapped kind of awkwardly, and there are no customizable controls that I could find, and I looked.
Yeah. Like, the actual mechanics of this game are surprisingly solid.
Yeah, you can move and you can aim your shots while you're moving. There's also one of the shoulder buttons is stand in place and aim, which lets you get a finer control when you don't want to be running back and forth. The basic gun is actually pretty fine. You don't actually need the power-ups, although they help. Sometimes, like especially the spread shot, because sometimes you can only fire in I think it's actually only 5 directions, because I don't think you can fire below your line of fire.
No, there wasn't really a need to do that.
Right. One of the things I actually really like for this game is that if you are like right up against something, and even if you're auto firing, which is pretty much what you probably should be doing, this is one of those games where there's not really a reason to not be shooting at any given point. If you're right up against something, instead of continuing shooting, she'll take a second and just fucking punch it with a shockwave from her other hand, which is useful for blowing up obstacles if you don't want to waste power-up ammo on it. And it actually surprisingly has pretty good range, even. Like you have to be up against something to punch it, but when you punch it, the shockwave goes like a couple of body lengths forward, I think. So yeah, overall, I was kind of having fun with it, even though like I was not doing great, and I feel like this is the game where you're just supposed to die a lot and get good. I think once you beat the game, you unlock 1cc mode, which I believe is 1 credit.
Yes.
Which is for people who are really good at it, I guess.
Well, there's an additional caveat. I played a bit of 1cc mode. It's a significantly harder game. Like, basic enemies become bullet sponges and shit.
The idea of that is at least like I think that's kind of it. Is overall this game has a lot of decent ideas. Just some of the execution, like if they like reduced the size of the score pickups to like 1/16 of the size they are by like cutting them in a quarter in each direction, they really don't need to be bigger than like 4 pixels, honestly. Like there are bosses that have unfair attacks, but this is the kind of game where you like are kind of okay with that. But it would be nice if they had a little bit of health pickups, which I guess I get why they don't have, but ideally the game would be a little bit longer.
Yeah, because this game is only 4 levels, and the levels are not all that long.
And each level has like 3 bosses in it, I think. Or
No.
Well, no, the elevator stage doesn't really, unless you count like the phases of different kinds of balls, and now there are also mines shooting at you.
Yeah.
The first stage has 3 bosses basically.
You know, it's not going to take you all that much time to master at least the initial arcade mode.
Yeah, it's. I think it's a decent fun game, especially. How much is the Switch version of this? Because I saw on Steam it's like $1.50, which sure fine.
It's on sale, but the normal regular price on all systems is $5.
Yeah, maybe a little high, but it's generally fine, I think.
Yeah.
It's a harmless, fun game, but there's a lot of like, and also I really enjoy the visual design of the various elements of the game when I can see what's fucking happening.
Yeah, that's about where I am with this thing. It's a decent run and gun, but
it could be a lot better with fairly little modification.
Mm-hmm. Like, and it could like it's got the typical Radalaikia game problem being way too short.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, and every version except the Switch version does have achievements that I guess I was just checking what those were.
Yeah.
Community. Where's the freaking community tab? I hate Steam moving stuff
around. Anyway, so Petty, what are your impressions of the game?
So far I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
I do kind of am on the boat of I kind of wish there were some health pickups.
That's just still such a strange design choice.
Like I said, it would be perfectly at home if this was an actual arcade game that was trying to make you pay actual money, but it's not.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, like it makes sense in context, you know, with the whole 4 not very long stages, but you know, it's so unconventional and not in a, you know, they're playing around with the rules. It's an omission that you just don't see all that often.
Yeah.
Oh geez.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it looks like there are two possible. One of them is no bueno, and one of them is that's all I had to do for the achievements. And then there's like beat X stage without using a continue, or beat X stage without using a power up, and stuff like that. And one of those beat the game without dying, and one of those beat the game without taking damage. Which like fucking good on you for spending that much time to get that good at it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you made the score pickups, which again, score doesn't actually do anything unless you get an extra life if you gain way more score than I ever did. Which again is a little bit you're in that case you're giving extra lives to people who don't need them.
Yeah.
So it needs a little bit of refinement, but I like the character design. I honestly even like the boss designs. They do a pretty good job of conveying what they are and how they will be attacking you. Even the elevator boss that like sucker punches you with its extendable, I don't even know what to call that part. But
it's functionally a fist.
Well, it's got the one central thing, and then it's got the 2 wheels.
Oh, right, the yo-yos.
Yeah, I was talking about the central, like the ladder-looking thing.
I see.
Anyway, yeah, I like the boss design. The enemies are pretty generic, but you know,
they're just an enemy.
Get blown up.
Yeah, it's a decent enough package. It just could have used some refinement to make it something.
Yeah, this would be a noticeably good game if it improved in a few minor ways. As it is, it's just kind of mediocre. And Betty Fane, you just passed by it. That one, like little hill thing that has the tiger stripe panel in the middle, but you go all the way up and down it. And there's another one. You see what I mean? Doesn't it look like you should like stop at the middle?
Yeah.
Possibly.
Anyway, anything
overall,
else?
it's a fun game. If you've got a little bit extra money or you can get it on sale, I don't think there's any harm in checking it out. But I really wish they had the time to improve it a little bit. I think I would kind of like it if it had the dash button mapped to a shoulder, and maybe there was a Super Metroid style, like hold your gun at an angle regardless of what you do button.
Yeah, do it Contra style, not Metal Slug style.
Yeah.
Like, this is why I always say Contra's better than Metal Slug. I can hold it at a diagonal and not have to move. Like,
I've never played either. Any preference I have for Metal Slug is mostly on the wow, that sprite art is sure something.
Yeah, I'm just talking on a mechanical level.
Yeah, I mean, I'm horrible at both of them. But this is the kind of game that even though I'm bad at it, I frequently have some fun with it. As long as I'm not trying to be like competitive.
Good to know. All right, and I think that'll about do it for Gun Crazy here. Be sure to tune in after the break as we'll be reviewing Roki.